X1 customers are seeing huge credit limit decreases hit their accounts with no honest explanation. Just imagine being one of those customers. You're trying to pay for groceries or maybe booking a flight for a family emergency, and suddenly your card is declined. You check your app and you see there's a drastically reduced credit limit. And worse, you have no idea it's coming. This is exactly what happened to me and at least 5 of my audience members recently, and you won't believe how someone lost $35,000 in available credit overnight. The real reason X1 is likely pulling the plug, and a simple way you can fight back against this massive company so you can potentially get your credit limit back. For the past 2 years, my X1 card was the card. It was my family's go-to for managing everyday expenses. My wife and I liked it. It had a sleek app interface, handling multiple cards and creating virtual cards for subscriptions felt effortless. Plus, I had a lot of point multipliers because I invited a ton of people to apply and rewards kept piling up. But then everything changed, and not in a good way. It was a regular Friday night. I was deep into cleaning out the fridge and taking out the trash when my wife decided to order groceries on DoorDash. She called out to me. She said, "Hey, the payment was declined." I froze mid-step and almost dropped the trash bag.
Decline?
It wasn't the first time this happened with her card with DoorDash. And if you know X1, you know they're infamous for their hypersensitivity and fraud detection. I went to approve the charge in the app like I had done countless times before, but this time was different. When I opened the app, I wasn't met with the usual approve this transaction button. Instead, it said
the charge was declined because there wasn't enough available credit.
I blinked. I was like, what? I had a $15,000 limit, paid off my balance weekly, and the last payment was $1,200. There's no way I was close to maxing it out. So curiosity turned into panic as I scrolled through the app. That's when I saw it. My limit had been slashed from $15,000 down to just $2,000. My stomach sank. I couldn't believe it. No app notification, no warning, nothing. Frantically, I searched my emails from X1, hoping for some explanation. I found 2 messages, both worse than I expected. The first was about my wife's decline charge. It stated that I need to wait for my recent payment to clear, which could take up to 4 business days to avoid exceeding my new credit limit. A limit that I hadn't agreed to, by the way. And then I found the real gut punch, a message from a week earlier titled Credit Line Update. It explained in the driest corporate tone possible that X1 had reviewed my account and decided to reduce my limit to $2,000 just like that. There was no context, no chance to contest it, and no care for how it would impact my credit score. I was upset. Now my utilization, something I've worked hard to keep under 10%, was now over 50% on that card. My once reliable card for the family was suddenly a liability, and to top it off, X1 had effectively stranded us mid-grocery order. I had to switch the order to a completely different card. Now that was the breaking point. I locked both of the cards and promised never to use the X1 again. But the nightmare didn't stop there. Just yesterday, I got another email from X1. They declined a $3 subscription charge, $3, and put my account under review. At this point, it felt like they were going out of their way to insult me. This entire experience taught me a hard truth. No matter how great a product seems, it's only as good as the company behind it. And soon you'll see why Robinhood's takeover of the X1 program has led to disaster for many existing X1 users. So my mind was still racing because the email from X1 came without warning, stating that my credit limit had been reduced. No detailed explanation, no chance to contest it, just a vague mention of a periodic review. Now, naturally, I started dissecting every possible reason, trying to piece together what could have triggered the decision. At first, I thought it might be related to my recent home renovations. I had increased my utilization on another card to fund the updates, and if you don't know, credit card companies perform soft credit pulls on your credit report almost monthly. If they see activity on other accounts that raises a red flag, like high balances or new credit card applications, they can reduce your limit or even close your account. This practice is called universal default, and this gives them the power to penalize you for your behavior that might not even involve their card. Then I wondered, could it be my rewards activity? I've had months of consecutive referrals for the X1 card, racking up significant points in the reward system. Was I being punished for maximizing a perk they offered? That seemed far-fetched, but not impossible. Credit card companies sometimes change the rules when customers play their game too well. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized the truth was likely much worse. This wasn't just about me. It wasn't even about my utilization or rewards. What I landed on was far more alarming because it wasn't personal. It was a pattern. I'm not the only one. When I started digging deeper, searching X1 credit limit decreases online, I uncovered a flood of stories from other X1 cardholders. Over the past 30 days, people across the country have been blindsided by the same issues. Sudden unexplained credit limit decreases. One person shared how their credit limit dropped from $31,000 to $5,000 overnight despite a flawless payment history. Another reported going from $40,000 to $10,000 without any prior warning. And the reasons were, all they got were vague emails about periodic reviews or low utilization. These weren't isolated incidents. This was a habit. It was clear that X1's actions weren't targeted at a few individuals. They were sweeping changes impacting potentially hundreds, if not thousands of customers. And this isn't just about the numbers on a credit report. It's about trust. X1 cardholders, like myself included, trusted the company to keep the terms we agreed on. Instead, we were left feeling blindsided and betrayed. And by the way, if you experience something similar, you're not alone. Comment below and share your story, and let's shine a light on what's really happening with X1. Now, check out these data points. One person said, "Today is my day. They just reduced from $31,000 to $5,000. I like how they can just mess with people's credit scores like that." And this hits hard because it's not just about a lower limit, it's the ripple effect on credit scores that can hurt your financial future. It's like they're playing with your credit without a second thought. Another user shared their experience. They said, "I was notified by my credit monitoring service. This morning, my credit limit was reduced from $25,000 to $5,000. No communication from X1. And I'd say the lack of communication is just unacceptable. Imagine waking up to find your financial safety net slashed. And this next person had a similar story. They said, "I just got my limit reduced from $21,500 to $10,000. The email says it's due to low utilization, but I spend upwards of $3,000 every month on it and pay my balances weekly. Maybe they don't like that I'm not paying interest." Another person said, "Mine went from $28,000 to $10,000 yesterday. I was so surprised when I got the email. I use it weekly. The reason they say is non-utilization of credit limit. I even have an 800 plus credit score." I gotta say, this is next level ridiculous. When an 800 plus credit score doesn't protect you, what chance does anyone else have? It feels like they're inventing excuses to cut limits. And one user summed it up simply. They said, "Reduced today from $40,000 to $10,000. A $30,000 drop is shocking. This kind of drastic cut could ruin anyone's credit utilization." Another user pointed out the bigger picture. They said, "Same thing happened to me here. Flawless credit likely has to do with the Robinhood acquisition and them de-risking their exposure. In either case, I will be canceling my card." Another customer said, "Mine went from $14,500 to $2,200 a few months back. Same issue." I'd say dropping to $2,200 feels more like a punishment than a policy change. It's an insult to loyal customers too. And here's one of the most extreme cases. They said from $45,000 to $10,000, then closed due to inactivity. So first, a drastic cut, then closure. It's clear the inactivity is just an excuse to push people out. And this next example feels almost like extortion. They said, "I had a limit of $19,500 and they decreased it to $6,000 in March. They emailed me and said if I made a $1,000 payment, they'd reinstate it back to $19,500. Now this feels especially manipulative. Holding someone's credit limit hostage for a payment screams bad faith. It really is like a shakedown, not customer service. And the sheer volume of stories I found told me this wasn't just about my credit limit being cut, it was a part of a larger issue. Robinhood's acquisition of X1 and the launch of their gold card suddenly seemed like more than a coincidence. It felt like a calculated move to squeeze out X1 cardholders in favor of their new product. So let's rewind to the summer of 2023. Robinhood, known for its commission-free stock trading platform, swooped in and bought the X1 card portfolio. At first, it seemed like an exciting move, a chance for Robinhood to expand its financial ecosystem and for X1 users to potentially enjoy even better perks. But what followed has been nothing short of a disaster for loyal X1 cardholders. Fast forward 8 months, and Robinhood launched a shiny new product, the Robinhood Gold Card. Yet for the X1 card, there's been a radio silence. No updates, no press releases, nothing since late 2023. It's like the card was just shoved into a forgotten corner of their priorities. And if you're wondering why you can't find an application link for the X1 anymore, that's because you can't even apply for it now. It's as if Robinhood has declared it obsolete without saying it out loud. For many of us, the writing is on the wall. Robinhood isn't just neglecting the X1 card, they're actively pushing people off it. It's clear they're laser focused on their new gold card. But here's where things get frustrating. Why not transition loyal X1 users to the gold card automatically? Why not even sweeten the deal by offering those customers the first 2 years free as a gesture of goodwill? No, but instead, Robinhood chose chaos. They slashed credit limits left and right, declined transactions for loyal customers, and sent vague impersonal emails that left people panicking. Rather than building bridges with their new customer base, they've really just lit a match and burned them down. What's worse is, this isn't just about a credit card. Robinhood's actions feel like a betrayal to people who've done nothing wrong, who've paid their balances on time, and who've supported the X1 brand for years. This wasn't just a bad move by Robinhood, it was a total disaster. Instead of keeping loyal customers, they've turned them into lifelong critics who won't even touch their products again. This is really a textbook case of how not to handle a product transition. So here's how to fight back against Robinhood's unfair X1 credit limit decreases, because you don't have to take this lying down. What you can do is file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or the CFPB. It's your best shot for holding Robinhood accountable for what they're doing to X1 cardholders. The CFPB is a watchdog over financial companies, and they're here to make sure stuff like this doesn't go unchecked. And the best part is, it takes less than 5 minutes to file the complaint. So what you'll need to do is go to the CFPB's complaint portal, and I'll leave that link below as well. Click on submit a complaint and then start a new complaint. If you don't already have an account, you'll need to create one right now. Then once you're logged in, click start a new complaint and then select credit card and then general purpose credit card or charge card. And then you can click next. Now under what's the problem, you want to select trouble using your card and then choose can't use your card to make purchases or account sold or transferred to another company, whichever fits your case better. Now for the question, have you already tried to fix the problem? Click yes. And then for did you request information from the company? Just click no. Now when it asks you to describe the issue, you don't have to stress about crafting the perfect response. I've got you covered there. I've written out a detailed explanation of my situation that you can just copy and personalize. It breaks down how X1 suddenly slashed my credit limit without warning, hurt my credit score, and disrupted my finances. It also calls out how unfair and opaque their practices were and asks for investigation and resolution. I'll leave the link to that document right below this video. You will just want to update the dates and details to fit your situation. Next, in the what would be a fair resolution question box, you'll want to say restore my credit limit to the original amount and provide better transparency in future decisions. Then you want to click next. For the company name, you'll need to select Robinhood Credit Incorporated. Now, if you're comfortable, you can include your card number in the space provided. I did this and it says it helps to quickly locate your account. Then all you have to do is review the form, make sure everything looks good, and then submit it. I believe that we don't have to let Robinhood get away with this. Filing a CFPB complaint is fast and it's easy and could make a big difference in the long run, not just for you, but for everyone dealing with these unfair limit decreases. So just take 5 minutes to file your complaint and let's hold them accountable together. Now, if you ever woken up to find your credit limit slashed with no warning, it's a disruption to your plans. It's disrupting to your credit score and your trust in the company you've been loyal to. The truth is that credit card issuers hold all the cards and we're left to navigate the ever-changing rules. But you don't have to sit back and hope for the best. There are a few steps that you can take to protect yourself from these unexpected and frustrating credit limit decreases. Number one is you can avoid having too much credit with just one bank. Banks review your total exposure to credit, and if they think you have too much available credit with them, they might decide to cut you off at the knees. So you want to spread your limits across different issuers to avoid giving any single bank too much control over your credit. For example, imagine you've got 3 cards with one bank, each with $10,000 limits. That's $30,000 in exposure for the bank. If they decide to reduce their risk, they could cut all your limits in half overnight. So by diversifying, you ensure no single bank holds the power to derail your credit profile. Then 2, you want to keep your utilization rates low across all the cards. Credit utilization is one of the key factors in your credit score, and keeping it low doesn't just boost your score, it also protects you if your limit decrease happens. If your utilization is already high when your limit gets cut, it can send your score just plummeting. And then 3, be wary of new fintech and startup companies. Fintech companies can be exciting for sure, offering innovative new perks and flashy interfaces, but they're also notorious for instability. Many startups face financial challenges. They shift their priorities or get acquired by bigger players like Robinhood did with X1. These rapid changes often leave customers high and dry. That new card with the fancy app might seem like the future, but just ask yourself, what happens if this company changes hands or policies? Startups move fast, and you don't want to be caught off guard. Stick to fintechs with a proven track record and always have a backup plan. And then 4, you want to diversify your credit card portfolio. Think of your credit cards like investments. Never put all your eggs in one basket. If one issuer decides to reduce your limit or close your account entirely, you want to have other cards to fall back on. Having multiple cards with different banks ensures that you're not overly reliant on any single issuer. I currently have 17 open credit cards from 11 different banks with a total credit limit of $250,000. And that's just on the personal side. And if you're ready to diversify your credit card portfolio and quickly find out what cards you're pre-approved for, then you gotta check out this playlist of 36 cards you can get pre-approved for without a hard credit pull. Thank you for watching.